KFMG. We're getting results in your neighborhood now at 6:30 p.m.
Right now at 6:30, a history-making countdown at the Cape. In just hours, 2 astronauts atop that rocket are set to make the first flight of its kind. And to get there, they will walk on a brand new gantry on a brand new crew arm because they will be the first to fly from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station since 1968. We have team coverage of the Starliner test flight. Good evening. This is News 6 at 6:30, getting results. Thank you for joining us here live on News 6 Plus. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
I'm Julie Broughton. Justin has the night off. Our top trending stories tonight include a big update on a story that infuriated so many of you. And it comes about a week after a boat full of young people were caught on camera dumping cans of trash off Florida's coast. 2 teens have now turned themselves in, the serious adult charges they now face, and what the parents of one of them has to say. Also trending, I guess Zulu wanted more freedom. That's a quote from the head of a local animal sanctuary whose monkey has now been on the loose for a month. How he made his escape and where Zulu could be now, later at 6:30.
But we start right now at 6:30 tonight with the historic countdown out at the Cape. If all goes as planned, in just a little more than 4 hours, Boeing Starliner Space Taxi will be sending up astronauts for the very first time. It is also the first time a United Launch Alliance rocket will carry people, and it's the first time humans have launched from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station since 1968. Now, for all of those reasons and more, veteran astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams will make it into the history books, as they should. News 6's Treasure Roberts is out with a growing crowd of eager launch watchers. We'll hear from her and them coming up in just a few minutes, but we start with News 6 anchor and space specialist Eric Von Anken. He is live at Kennedy Space Center. So, Eric, how bizarre is it that there actually have people on this thing tonight, because we have waited a long time for this?
You know, I think everybody's waited a long time for this. And Ginger, the thing is, this was supposed to happen long before SpaceX made their Dragon crew capsule get to the space station. So remember, this goes back to 2014 when NASA brass picked 2 companies. Everybody thought Boeing was going to be the winner to ferry astronauts to the space station first. Well, that's not exactly how it went. Along the way, there were what many people describe as setbacks. Well, as we found out, the astronauts in particular are a bit sensitive to that word. Listen.
Along for the next few hours, because again, today.
That is a common phrase, and I understand it when you say setback. But honestly, with all the discovery, that's what we would term it, that we've had, it's been steps forward. Yeah, we find an issue, but that's something that we didn't know existed in some cases.
The astronauts and Boeing and NASA described the setbacks as part of the process of developing a brand new spacecraft from scratch. Typically, they say a 10-year process. And that's how long it's taken. In 2014, NASA bet big on Boeing's Starliner, awarding $4.2 billion to the company that built the U.S. side of the space station.
Engines full power and lift off.
SpaceX, the underdog at the time, only got about $2.5 billion from NASA to get its Dragon crew capsule off the ground. But it turned out SpaceX came from behind and put astronauts on the space station before Boeing could even make it to the station without any crew on board. In 2019, Boeing flew Starliner for the first time, but the test failed so badly NASA called it a high-visibility close call. In 2021, Boeing was ready to try a second test flight and pay for it themselves, but couldn't get the capsule off the ground because of multiple corroded valves. Finally, in 2022, Starliner flew again, and Boeing discovered the parachute lines weren't strong enough, and tape protecting the wiring inside the capsule was flammable. It took another 2 years, and now mission managers and the astronauts say they're sure all problems are fixed, and they're better for it.
We're here because we're all ready. And our families and friends have heard about it along the way. We've talked about all the issues that we've encountered, and I think they're happy and proud that we've been part of the process to fix it all.
And one of the things that's been very interesting that we have heard from the astronauts that we haven't heard from other astronauts in the past, at least astronauts like Bob and Doug on that first SpaceX test flight. So anytime anybody has brought up that word, setbacks, well, their response was they're not setbacks, they're discoveries. So For example, things like Butch, he was saying that when he flew on the space shuttle, there were what they call black zones, where essentially if something happened on the way up in any of these black zones, these periods along the way, and it was bad, the astronauts would not survive. Well, when they first found out they were flying Starliner with those same black zones, Butch and several other people then down the road said, why? Why are we going to accept that? So they were able to, I guess, redo a lot of the software and work it into what's on board there in the Starliner to where Houston, mission control on the ground, can take over in the event that there is some mass failure, and they can guide this capsule back down to the ground. So again, an example of what they call a discovery and an opportunity to fix it. Just want to tell you right now where we stand with this countdown. So NASA finally has just given us a picture of the astronauts. So that's Sonny Williams. Sonny and Butch right now are over in the operations and checkout building. That's the crew quarters where they are suiting up. They have their bright blue, as opposed to SpaceX's white space suits, now on. A little bit different besides the color. These are more flexible. The astronauts have said that these space suits are nicer. They make life easier for the astronauts because the hood is flexible. You can see out of it, and also you have a little bit more control through the gloves. So we are just under 4 hours to go until we're lifting off from the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. The rocket right about now, that Atlas V, should be fully fueled. For now, we're live at KSC. Eric Von Eiken getting results. Back to you.
All right, Eric, thank you. Few launches draw larger crowds than flights with astronauts on board. Add to it, this is a history-making mission. News 6's Treasure Roberts is live with some of those crowds at Space View Park in Titusville. Treasure, I imagine lots of people very excited out there.
Oh yeah, more and more people are showing up to claim their spots at Spaceview Park. Since I last updated you all, I've seen more chairs being set up. I even see some tripods and cameras. It looks like they're trying to get that perfect shot of the rocket. Now liftoff is getting closer and closer. Here's a live look at the launch pad. The spacecraft is set to take off just after 10:30. I met Nathan McElmurray and his son Emmett a couple hours ago when they came to scope out the place. They said they'll be back to watch the launch later tonight. Now both of them aren't from here. They're from North Carolina, and they didn't even come here to watch the launch. But when they found out it was happening tonight, they knew they didn't want to miss this opportunity.
We came to get this little guy down in Okeechobee and stopped here on the way back and saw there's going to be a launch, and so he called Mom, got permission to play hooky from school and stay and watch the launch.
I mean, what a coincidence. I love this for them, and shout out to his mom for giving him the okay. They may not be the only ones here from out of state. I'll keep talking to people to find out who else came from what other part of the country, and I'll let you know more about that tonight at 11. Treasure Roberts, getting results, News 6.
Treasure, thank you. Here is one more live look at the Atlas V atop Launch Complex 41. We will check in on preps for tonight's launch all evening long. Again, liftoff is set for 10:34, so we are so excited.
We've been counting down, not just all day, but really about a month we started counting down. But right now, it looks like weather is just going to be great out there. The forecast is 95% chance for go. So, Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrells, I know they don't talk to you about this. You say it all the time.
They do not.
But it's looking nice out there. So if anything happens, it's not
the weather.
It's not weather.
Yeah, the sky's clear at the Cape. It's all beautiful. The port looks great. Sun is still shining. Of course, the sun will not be shining at 10:34, but everything should go our way. Rain showers across the interior should die out long before the cloud cover can make it back to the East Coast. So the ULA Atlas V Starliner forecast, 10:34. Should be 76 degrees, light wind from the southeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Launch probability is 95%. All should be good to go. Here's the Light Orlando camera at news time. Temperature reading downtown Orlando holds in at 86 degrees. Rain chance only 20%. By midnight, we will be at 75. So the bottom line is, if the launch doesn't go, it's probably not because of the weather. I'll be right back to pinpoint big heat for the rest of your week.
Tom, thank you. Hours before Starliner's big crewed mission and one launch pad over, SpaceX sent up its Falcon 9 rocket carrying more Starlink internet satellites. Around 8.5 minutes later, its booster landed on a drone ship in the Atlantic. If you're planning on watching tonight's launch, send us your photos to clickorlando.com/pins. Videos too if you have it. We'd love to showcase the different views across Central Florida. Again, you can upload all of that at clickorlando.com/pins.
We have new details tonight on a new plan to pay tribute to the 49 lives lost in the Pulse nightclub tragedy. Not in Orange County where it happened, but in Osceola County. It comes just months after the city of Orlando had to take control of designing and planning the permanent memorial at the Pulse site. The city is starting from scratch. A county commissioner revealed some of Osceola's memorial plans this weekend, but those plans are already changing. Now they're calling it a tribute to be built in Brownie Weiss Park. News 6's Emily McLeod is in Osceola County with what it will and won't contain.
I really feel with all the construction that's going on in Neo City right now that I'd like to bring it back to where I first looked at, which is Brownie Weiss Park. It is not a memorial. The memorial is for up in Orlando where the tragedy occurred.
Over the weekend, Osceola County Commissioner Cheryl Grebe revealing plans for a Pulse memorial. However, during Monday's County Commission meeting, we were there as she announced several changes to those plans. Now, instead of a groundbreaking for the tribute taking place on June 12th, Commissioner Cheryl Grebe says an unveiling of what the tribute will look like will take place here in the courthouse square on June 12th. Shortly after the meeting, the county sent us a statement saying, in part, "This is not a memorial. The memorial belongs at the site of the tragedy. The tribute piece will not make references to the events that unfolded on that day as would a memorial." Grebe says it's important to have a tribute in Osceola County because many of the victims and survivors have a connection to the county.
There's a group that had asked me to look at having something here in Osceola County. As we all know that many of the folks that were affected either lived here, worked here, or have family here in Osceola County.
We spoke to Orlando Torres, a survivor of the Pulse shooting, and asked him his thoughts about a Pulse tribute in Osceola County.
Just because it happened here in Orlando, it wasn't just that Orlando were victims here. There were victims from other counties, and I've heard many victims lived in Osceola County.
We tried to speak with Commissioner Grebe after the meeting. She left immediately after it ended. We spoke to a county representative and they told us she would not be making any comment. We also tried to get clarification on the funding for this planned tribute. They tell us it will still be ARPA funding, and they say it's estimated to cost $250,000, but without a final design, they won't know how much it'll come in at. For now, reporting in Osceola County, I'm Emily McLeod, getting Results News 6.
Major new developments tonight and what's been one of the top stories trending for a week now on clickorlando.com. It's a story that has many of you outraged.
Yeah, and tonight it has landed 2 teens in trouble with the law. We first showed it to you last Tuesday at 6:30. Viral video showing young boaters tossing cans filled with garbage overboard into the Atlantic. It was first posted on YouTube by a content creator called Wavy Boats. They spotted the group leaving the annual Boca Bash on Lake Boca, then dumping the trash about 1.5 miles offshore the Boca Raton Inlet. Days later, FWC told News 6 it had identified those boaters. Tonight, FWC says 2 of the teens have now turned themselves in. The 16-year-old and 15-year-old are both facing charges of third-degree felony cause pollution. That could land them a $50,000 fine and up to 5 years in jail.
No doubt many of you are asking, what about their parents? The family of one of the teens released a statement saying they are extremely saddened at what happened, adding, quote, "We want to extend our sincerest apologies to everyone who has been impacted and rightfully upset by what occurred."
I mean, it's just heartbreaking when you see
Yes.
it. Every time you see it, and it's just been worldwide now.
Yes.
So not a good look
Right.
for Florida. Our second top trending headline sounds like something that just can't be real. Here's the headline. Still trucking. This big rig with police lights is pulling over drivers in Florida. Someone first asked Trooper Steve about this a few years ago.
I think I remember this. It was true then, and it is true now. FHP doesn't just drive cruisers. It has 3 marked semi-trucks that can pull drivers over. Now, most often, these big rigs are used for demonstrations at schools and public events, but a sworn trooper is always behind the wheel, so that means you could see flashing lights in the rearview mirror that are much higher than you're used to looking at. The FHP first dressed a semi in its colors back in 2014. You may think it would be the most obvious rig on the road, but Trooper Steve says most most people don't pay attention to it because this type of vehicle is the last thing someone is thinking about. So,
yep, right when they blow past it.
Right. I doubt there's little surprise a furry fugitive has quickly climbed to the top of our top trending stories. The headline, I guess Zulu wanted more freedom. Can we blame Zulu? Monkey escapes Florida sanctuary where he may be now.
Okay, so take a look at
Oh,
this.
he is handsome.
He's a monkey on the lam, apparently. Somehow Zulu got out of his habitat at the Chase Sanctuary and Wildlife Conservancy in Sumter County. He is beautiful. Zulu manipulated the lock on his enclosure to gain his freedom. He's been on the run now for about a month, so he's getting good at it. The sanctuary founder says Zulu has been spotted in Claremont. She told us every time they get word of a Zulu sighting, he's gone before they can get there. If anyone sees, Zulu has someone on the inside.
Right.
If anyone sees Zulu, you're asked to text her. Not Zulu, but the person at the enclosure. So we have the number on clickorlando.com.
I would definitely text Zulu.
I would too.
Now, Zulu is different from this monkey on the loose in the Groveland area. The sanctuary's founder says this monkey is believed to be a rhesus macaque that likely came from the colony at Silver Springs in Marion County. Now, if you see this monkey on the loose, call FWC. Do not text Zulu if you see that one. Call FWC.
Yeah, I was in Cocoa Village with my husband yesterday, and a little smart car drove by, and a rhesus macaque wasn't driving, but it was hanging out the driver's side.
I saw that post, and I had to zoom in. I'm like,
Yeah.
what did she just post?
Just saw it.
Yeah.
Apparently, tourism is also trending big time. Central Florida was the place to be this spring.
Orange County took in more tourist taxes in March than any month in history. That's great news for our tourism industry, but there are some gray clouds on the horizon. Why the county is counting on another big month before fully embracing the record revenue.
And hurricane season is bearing down on us fast. The weather change that could make us more vulnerable to storms, and what you need to do right now to prepare. First, those schemes and ripoffs you need to know about. Imposters spoofing your bank, and it could cost you thousands of dollars. The red flags you need to look out for.
You're watching News 6 at 6:30 live on News 6 Plus. We're getting results in Winter Park, Montverde, and all of Central Florida. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Now at 6:30, it's a common scheme among thieves. Bank imposters setting the perfect trap to steal your money, and it can happen in just seconds.
One victim was convinced she was talking to the security team with Chase Bank, only to have $46,000 snatched from her account. News 6 investigator Mike Holfeld breaks down how it happened in this week's schemes and ripoffs.
Why am I being targeted? Why me?
She was in the hospital when the call came in.
Chase Bank imposters. Right name, right customer service number, perfect lie.
And what exactly did they say?
We want to verify that this is not a fraudulent transaction. We have suspicion that it's a fraudulent transaction.
And where was the purchase?
New Mexico.
Karen Rowe is going public to expose a bank security trap that could happen to any of us.
They wanted to take that money and move it to another account to make it safe. And they sent me the verification link, which they do every time they do something.
So what happened was you opened the door to your account.
And not even knowing it.
And the money's gone.
Money's gone.
The imposters spoofed the identical phone number on the back of her debit card.
7338.
The Chase branch manager confirmed it was fraud in writing. Well, we know 2 transactions totaling $46,000 was moved to a Wells Fargo account.
Wells Fargo called me to verify that both of them were fraud. I told them they were fraud.
Yet a year later, that money hasn't been returned.
The worst part is that it's happening every day. Billions and billions of dollars from these huge banks.
We're continuing to investigate this case. Mike Hofeld getting results, News 6.
Well, good news tonight about Orange County's crucial tourism business. Thanks to spring break and an early Easter, we just shattered a record in March.
More than $40 million in tourist taxes were taken to the county coffers, and that's more money in 1 month than in any other month in Orange County history. It is also $1.6 million more than March of last year. That's an increase of 4%. March also beat February's numbers by a healthy $6.5 million.
Yeah, and it's not all great news, though. So far, Orange County has collected about 29,000 fewer tourist tax dollars this fiscal year over last year. So experts say we need to keep an eye on April numbers.
It was a great month, no doubt about it. It's really a barometer which tells you how well the tourist industry is doing. We're going to need to see what happens in April and May and see how the year goes because, you know, we in the county are budgeting for a small decrease this year. Hopefully we don't see a decrease. Hopefully it's an increase. But we did see a small decrease for the year up until this month, and now it's really just about flat compared to last year.
And it's more than just bragging rights at stake. The county relies on tourist taxes to pay the debt on the Orange County Convention Center, plus money for the Dr. Phillips Center, the Kia Center, and Camping World Stadium.
Okay, none of us like to hear this, but there are just 25 days until the official start of hurricane season 2024. That means it is National Hurricane Preparedness Week, so each day this week, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration will be emphasizing why the time to get ready is right now.
So today's topic is the preps you need to make before June 1st. That includes developing an evacuation plan for your family, assembling disaster supply kits, including batteries, chargers, non-perishable foods, and, of course, water. Now's also a great time to do a checkup to make sure your home insurance has you covered.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas took a closer look at the 3 reasons this year could be especially busy in this morning's weather-wise.
We now have warmer than normal sea surface temperatures where tropical storms are born. We have the La Nina coming on strong, and now we have this pattern that continues to emerge, that horseshoe pattern that would promote more convergence at the surface, more thunderstorm development, which could lead to more tropical systems getting going pending limited wind shear, which is typically around when La Nina is there, and of course the drier air, which we're going to talk about later on this week as we really get into the Saharan air layer.
All right, so Julie, during this segment, one of the most telling things was when Jonathan showed the fast collapse of El Nino and the very quick arrival of La Nina. You know more about these things than I do, of course. Jonathan will be doing a deeper dive all week on the upcoming hurricane season. Catch WeatherWise weekdays at 8 right here on News 6, plus your smart TV app and clickorlando.com.
And mark your calendars. Every year, our News 6 Pinpoint Weather Team joins together so you can get results and get prepared. This year's hurricane special is set for Monday, June 3rd. After the hurricane special, Tom, Candace, Jonathan, Samara, Michelle, and I will hang out for our Insider After Hours Q&A. We'll share stories of past storms, dishing on what goes on behind the scenes, and answering your questions. Send those questions in right now at clickorlando.com/insider. Crystal Moyer always does a very good job wrangling us and organizing this. It's always a lot of fun.
Don't have FOMO because you will miss a lot of great stuff. And I mean, it's great information. You guys do the science-y part of it too, but I think the part people really enjoy is just learning more about you guys in general. I think so. All right, Tom.
Search me, man.
It's always fun.
They ask some strange questions and then some good ones, so
All
you
right.
never know what I'm going to get.
We have a historic launch tonight.
We do.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Take a look at what's happening weather-wise. Radar this time looks okay. Scattered showers across the interior, but for the most part, in the last 2 or 3 hours, they have calmed down a bunch. So here we stand, heading into the almost the 7 o'clock hour without much radar echoage to mess with. So no rain on the coast. That's the big deal. ULA Atlas V Starliner launches at 10:34. Temperature reading should be 76 degrees. Wind will be from the southeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Launch probability holds in at about 95%. Almanac page 4 today, it was hot. The high today hit 91, 4 degrees above the norm. Overnight low this morning was also 4 degrees above the norm. Currently in downtown Orlando, it's 86 degrees. Launch Credit Union camera has a reading of 82 degrees, wind from the east-southeast at about 14. What about where you live? Okay, temperatures have been in the 80s for hours now, still holding at 86 in Orlando, 82 Daytona Beach, 81 New Smyrna. And these winds, pretty persistent, coming in from the east-southeast at about 13 miles per hour at the Cape. The same at Cocoa Beach, and a 14-mile-per-hour wind right now in Melbourne. Satellite and radar together showing the location of the big ridge of high pressure off the east coast. As long as the high is in place, we don't change. So this warm air is pushed all the way up into the Ohio Valley. Tonight, colliding sea breezes, and then the showers die out. Don't look for much in the way of any rain coming back toward the east coast, even though the cloud cover probably will. Tomorrow, another hot day, even hotter than today by, maybe a degree. Here comes the east coast sea breeze by 3. They collide a little farther east tomorrow, so the seam will be right along the I-4 corridor from Seminole County down to Osceola. And then as we go into Wednesday, well, there's still the slightest chance of rain on Wednesday, but rain chances drop. And when they do, the heat goes up. Colliding sea breezes don't do much on Wednesday. Lows tonight, 60s and 70s. The overnight low tonight in Orlando, under a clearing sky, will be 69. Here's tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Florida Lottery.
Temperature reading will be back to 86 degrees by noon tomorrow. Daytime high is 92, 1 degree above where we were today. But come look at this. We'll hit 92 tomorrow, but 96 on Wednesday. Thursday, 98 smoking degrees. By Friday, we're at 97. We don't get real relief until Mother's Day Sunday with a high of 88.
All right, Tom, thank you. After showing off their talents, 3 local students are bringing some big checks to their schools.
Yeah, tens of thousands of dollars raised, all for the arts. Ahead on News 6 at 6:30, I'll introduce you to the winner of an amazing talent show, bringing parents, students, and teachers together for a great cause. Stay with us. We're back in 2.
Central Florida is well known for growing incredible talent.
Yeah, over the weekend, some of the best student performers in Orange County took center stage, all for a really good cause. Matt Austin and I had the pleasure of hosting the district's Top Talent Live competition at the Dr. Phillips Center. 16 finalists from every grade level sang, danced, and played instruments in front of a cheering crowd of parents and teachers. The top prizes donate money to the winner's school's arts program.
Winning a $500 gift card and $1,000 for their school's art program. This is our first place winner tonight. Did you already look? Oh, okay. She's very excited.
Oh my God! Elvis! Look at that guy. So Elvis Avetus from Discovery Middle School landed in first place for his amazing, it was a ragtime piano performance of Rihanna's Umbrella. He sang and he played the piano at the same time. And it really, I hope you go to YouTube and I'll post it on my Facebook page.
Okay.
I mean, it's really incredible. So I hosted this event in 2019. Elvis was in third grade. And since then, he's
So
been a
cute.
top talent finalist before winning this weekend's top prize. His dad said he edited that picture just for me, and I feel so honored. So thank you, Elvis, and thank you to all the students who participated. There were some 200 who wanted to be a part of that, and they whittled it down to 16, and then the top.
That's a
three.
great story.
I love it.
Amazing
I love
stuff.
it so much.
Right now, all eyes are on Cape Canaveral Space Force Station and Launch Complex 41. You are looking live at ULA's pad, where for the first time since Apollo 7 back in 1968, humans will launch from the Cape instead of KSC. The first test crewed mission of the Boeing Starliner space taxi finally appears ready to go.
Let's hope so. We are now just a little over 3.5 hours away from the planned liftoff time of 10:34. Of course, we will bring you extensive coverage of this historic launch on News 6 here on News 6 Plus and clickorlando.com. You do not want to miss it. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
All systems are go, 95% chance. Thank you so much for watching News 6 at 6:30. Stream News 6 online anytime on our News 6 Plus Smart TV app.
Remember, we break news on clickorlando.com, and they will see you tonight at 11. Good night.